Yo, what's up? So this story time is gonna be about the time I accidentally stopped a robbery on my own house. This was when I was 5, and I'm actually surprised that I remember anything about this. I was just sitting down thinking about something I should tell people, and this just popped up in my head. So let's get started. All right, this was like a long time ago. I was 5 at the time, and I was living with my mom in Las Vegas, and she had this house. I remember that exact day. We ended up going to like a Chuck E. Cheese because one of my cousins had a birthday party going on, and I wanted to go, and they were like, at Chuck E. Cheese just doing their thing. So we came back from there, and I just stayed the entire day, and I was tired, so I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, I ended up just having this very weird dream. And I'll remember the dream. I'll never forget this dream for as long as I live. So, as some people know, I'm afraid of spiders. And in this dream, I was like sitting down in this chair and I couldn't move. And I was in like a daycare and I was watching giant spiders just like crawl around. And they're like fast too, like just crawling around, jumping on everybody, jumping on everything. And it was just such a disturbing dream. And then one of the spiders ran up and jumped on me. And I woke up and I screamed. And my mom, she ended up coming in my room and she like was acting like, "What's wrong? What happened? Why were you screaming in the dark? Like you were just sound asleep with no problem at all. What happened?" And I just kept crying, kept screaming. So she took me into the kitchen with her because she was in there on the phone with her friend. And so while she was on the phone with her friend, she just kept talking about how like work this at the other one, the party, and she started looking around, started just feeling uneasy, and I just started like looking at her. I was sitting at the table and she was sitting by the window and had her back towards the window staring at me. Well, not staring at me, but staring in my direction. And she ended up just saying like telling the person on the phone, like, hold up, like I don't feel right. I feel like uneasy, like uncomfortable right now. On her phone, she was telling her friend that. And while she was saying that type of stuff, we were hearing stuff in the backyard, and that kind of alerted her suspicions. So she wasn't really going for anything that was going on in that backyard, but she wasn't sure, and she didn't really like wasting things. So she wasn't really gonna call the police over something that she suspected, basically. And so as she was doing this and suspecting, like, okay, something's wrong, she ended up going back on her phone and just like calling her other friend, and I think it was my auntie. She called my auntie and she was just talking to her, telling her like, "Yeah, I think I just heard something in the backyard," because my auntie, it was like her, not her house, but she was like staying there with us, and she was out in some club. I don't remember what she was doing, but she was out, and so my mom called her, and when she called her, she ended up telling her like, I just heard something in the backyard. Is that you? Who else like did you are you expecting somebody over like this? It's weird if you were coming through. Oh my god, it's weird if you were coming through the backyard because you got the key. And she just told her like, that's not me in the backyard. If you heard somebody in the backyard, it's probably you should call the police. And my mom was sitting there talking to her, looking through the backyard, and I can hear it because the phone was on speaker, that my auntie was calling my mom, like telling her like, hello, hello, hello. My mom just wasn't saying anything, and I just constantly kept staring at her, kept on like locking on to her, and I focused very well on her, but I wasn't looking at what she was looking at. My mom ended up like tilting over the sink to look out the window, and it's almost like she was looking directly at something but didn't quite know what it was. So she ended up like zooming in deeper and deeper on it, getting closer, and I constantly kept hearing my auntie like go, hello, hello, hello. And then my mom finally went, hold up, and kind of like put the phone down, but having it in her hand still. And she like kept staring at the glass, and that's when I said, like, Mom, are you okay? And she tapped the glass, like smacked it, and then she said I'll never forget, she said she saw some bald head person like jump back. Somebody was in our backyard and was literally watching my mom staring at her while she was on the phone. And so while she was like freaking out, like screaming, like somebody was in my backyard. She was telling her sister, somebody's in the backyard, somebody's in the backyard. And like she was like, I'm gonna hang up, call the police. She hung up, called the police, and like a couple minutes later, the police showed up, and my mom was just made sure all the doors was locked, and like I was close to her because she was pretty a paranoid person when it came to me because I was our only boy. So she didn't want to like go and lock all the doors, and while she's locking the doors, I'm getting kidnapped in the middle of the house somehow. So she kept me with her. So she ended up locking all the doors. The cops ended up coming. They said, what's the problem? She told them, I saw somebody in my backyard. She couldn't give a direct description, but she just kind of knew that the person didn't have hair. He looked like a bald headed guy. And so they were like, it could have been anybody. It could have been a crazy person, but we're going to have to check anyways. And so my mom wasn't really quite sure what was back there, but they went back there and they found like footprints in the grass. So we really like weren't going back there anytime soon. The cops told us like somebody's definitely been back here. There's footprints in the grass. They lead to the gate and then they just stop. So we can investigate this and we will, but we don't really have like any leads. But we'll find out. And if you want somebody to like stay at your house and stake this out in case anything else happens, we can. Ever since then, we like left like a couple of days later, packed up our stuff and left. We didn't want to go back. We did not want to go back in that house with my auntie because it was so weird. And to this day, my mom, well, she passed, but to this day, she thought like the reason I woke up and I wasn't telling her why I screamed and I woke up was because like somebody was watching me while I was asleep. I never told her that like the nightmare I had. I just woke up and I had a very bad nightmare. She thought I woke up because somebody was watching me and I caught them watching me. So that's the reason I really woke up, and she was kind of like paranoid the entire time. So yeah, that's the story about when I accidentally stopped a robbery in my house or something worse. I'm gonna be making more stuff like this in the future. Tell me if you like creepy stuff like this because I got a whole bunch more, and I'll be coming out with more creepy type of videos like this. Anyways, whether people like it or not. All right, make sure to subscribe and like the video. It helps a lot. I really am trying to get new subscribers, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.